All right, imagine your child writing you a letter choosing a drug over you. It's a punch in the gut one mother knows all too well, as heroin is increasingly becoming the drug of choice. Our Call 6 investigator Rafael Sanchez joins us with what's tearing families apart. Rafael.
Todd, good evening. 2 small cubes of sugar. If these cubes were heroin, they would have a street value upwards of $3,000. Just something as small as these 2 cubes. The heroin coming to Indiana is coming directly from Mexico. It is highly addictive. The cravings so strong, it drives users to say and do just about anything.
Ashley Milburn is the girl next door. The one who danced ballet, played with Barbies, and blossomed as a teen. There were so many dreams for Ashley, so much love and hope.
I feel like I have lost her. It makes me numb. The visiting hours are from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Denise Milburn is a nurse at St. Vincent Hospital, trained to care and save lives.
There we go. Perfect.
Despite all of her efforts, Denise's baby girl keeps slipping away, hooked on heroin.
I will no longer be a victim. And this is what I sent her, trying to tell her that I couldn't do it anymore.
For the first time, Denise is reading out loud the letter she wrote her daughter.
I see myself as another victim. I hate heroin.
The hatred began in 2005 when her daughter's co-worker at Waffle House offered her a taste of heroin while on the job. The taste would become an addiction in 2007.
Somebody else could overdose and I'll still want the same amount that she had, even though that person just OD'd on me. It's like, I don't know, it's weird. It's like a sickness.
She's a different person now. She is not that person anymore. That's how I feel like I've lost her. I feel like what I had, the good-hearted girl, is gone, and now she is just a heroin addict.
I want more than anything to be able to stop, but it's really, really difficult.
Ashley put on paper words that cut through her mother's soul.
At this point, this is the life I've chosen, and I'm sorry that the heroin is more important than you. I want to say I love you, but you probably don't believe that. I'm sorry this is what it has come to. I hope one day I can make it up to you.
She will first have to serve time at Rockville State Prison after several drug arrests and breaking into her mother's home. This young lady, with as many mugshots as high school yearbook pictures, hopes she can break from being a hostage to heroin.
I don't want to die.
I know she is strong. She can survive. I pray for the day that she believes it too.
That is one strong mom. Ashley is scheduled to be released from Rockville Prison, possibly in 2015. Her mother calls the prison often and hopes to one day have a healthy relationship with her daughter.
Let's hope that happens. How did Ashley pay for her habit?
As most heroin addicts, they begin to steal from their family and friends, heirlooms, guitars, anything that is not concrete, they take, they steal, they pawn. In Ashley's case, though, she also told me that she and a couple of her friends were running a shoplifting ring in Indianapolis. They were stealing about $200 a day for the habit. We'll have more on that scheme later in the week.
It's amazing how it just grabs your soul and tears your life apart.
As a parent, we have kids. I could not imagine interviewing Ashley's mom. It was just a tough interview to do because you would hate to see your child in that position.
All right, Ralph, nice job. A doctor's office in Pendleton is under investigation for illegally prescribing pain medications, and it was raided by the Drug Enforcement Administration today. A warrant issued out of Madison County led to the raid of the offices of Dr. Eric Jones, along with his home and his car. Jones is accused of prescribing painkillers to people who were not his patients. He specializes in weight management, hormone replacement, low testosterone, Botox, and fillers. The DEA says this is part of an ongoing investigation. This is the third raid of a doctor's office in central Indiana by the DEA in recent months.
To our Call 6 investigators now, they've been digging into the enormous problem of heroin in the heartland, a drug devastating Indiana families and communities. Some call it the devil's drug. Others call it by its street name, boy or dog food. By any name, heroin is highly addictive, destructive, and expensive to treat. The cost of treatment can be a roadblock for those hooked on heroin. Call 6 investigator Rafael Sanchez takes on the road to redemption and recovery, part of our continuing series. Rafael?
Erica, good evening. There are good people and programs along that road, But access is not easy. Right now, there is no central hotline that you can call to get assistance for heroin rehab. Private insurance, for example, is all over the place and may not cover all of the treatments, which can take months in some cases, and some of those programs can cost up to $10,000 and up, and that's just the minimum price. We had a chance to visit an oasis in the woods where broken men seek to become whole.
Johnson finds peace on the lake.
This is as good as any that I can come and rest and just be able to relax.
Preston Rogers wants to make the cut. His future depends on it.
I don't want to continue to hurt people for the rest of my life.
Both men were hooked on heroin. They came to Camp Hunt to shed the addiction which made their family and friends flee.
At the height of the use, where were you? What did that look like?
The height of the use found me in Indianapolis.
Alec was spending $100 a day on the drug.
It was easier to get street heroin than to get the pharmaceuticals that people were selling.
He tried methadone recovery, but he slipped deeper into drug abuse. It wasn't until he lost his job, his vehicle, and housing that he ended up here.
What did you learn here?
During that long pause, Alec would later tell me he was in prayer, asking God to help him come up with an answer.
I learned,
He says his prayer was answered.
that before I came here, I was deceitfully wicked in all my ways. There's God in everything. It's not anybody else's fault. It always points back to your own heart, and that's called real ownership. That's what I've learned here. Ownership.
The 30-year-old will soon complete the program.
Lord, we just thank you for today. Just thank you for all you do in the men's life.
Outside of Bloomington, Wheeler Mission has room for 30 men at their nearly 300-acre campground.
Addiction's at epidemic proportions right now. That's why we're on our knees every morning as staff. We pray together. This camp is a blessing. We see God do a lot of works here.
Here the men's sole focus, self-improvement. Through classes, Bible study, fellowship, and work. Pallets produced here are sold to companies that use them for shipping. Profits benefit the camp. The daily work ethic, meant to create better and healthier men.
I manipulate, use people, didn't care who I ran over to get, what I was going after, the drug.
Preston pictures the day his family can forgive him. The relationships are battered.
I was willing to take anything that I could. I sold off family heirlooms that I'll never be able to get back.
Two guys, one seeking the tools to tackle his addiction, the other who's turned the tide, both with the same goal.
I'm forgiven for what I've done, and that from this point on I need to not necessarily work to make up for that, but now I have a desire to live the right way.
On average, most men stay at Camp Hunt for 16 months. Now, they're asked to repay at least a quarter of their treatment, Erica, which is about $3,000 to $4,000.
So, Raphael, is Camp Hunt considering expanding with the need?
Well, there would be enough space to expand there in Bloomington, but money would be an issue. Their program is solely based on donations, and so they want to be good stewards of that money. Right now, they're only focused on getting it right, so they focus on those 30 men at a time.
All right, good to see places stepping in to help. Thank you, Raphael. And looking deeper at the numbers at Camp Hunt, out of 516 men, the program has treated 262 Hoosiers over the past 12 years. Others have come from all over the U.S., Japan, Germany, and Africa. The majority of clients are single or divorced who are college educated, and under 20% served in the military. Our coverage continues with a basic roadmap to resources that can help someone with a heroin addiction. You can reach out to your county drug-free counsel office to see if there are any rehab or support programs in your area. There are a number of social media support sites like You Can Indiana on Facebook, which is member-based. You may also want to check with the nearest Narcotics Anonymous program in your county for help. And tomorrow, our Call 6 team continues their extensive look at the impact of heroin. On the news at 7, we'll take you to the place known as Heartbreak Hill. Thursday, a controversial plan that could put you on the front lines of preventing an overdose. On Friday, how a music man is hoping to make a difference.
And powerful series for sure.
Now to our Call 6 investigators, Heroin in the Heartland series. Heroin is making inroads as tougher rules make it difficult for people to get prescription pills. Those pills are now more expensive than the drug being shipped to Indiana from Mexico. Tonight, Call 6 investigator Rafael Sanchez concludes his reports with the music man and his message.
Erica, good evening. Jimmy Reiser once worked with John Mellencamp at Moody Blues, and years ago he abused prescription pills. He never did heroin. Tonight, the musician who every day looks at a new scale of options.
So let's give some good old-fashioned Hoosier support to young Jimmy Reiser.
From bringing down the house at charity concerts to visiting the White House with former President Clinton, Jimmy Reiser, a star musician, was on top of the world. But the early stages of his life would set the tone of his rebirth.
I was born with spina bifida in 1965, and the preferred method of treatment at that time was euthanasia.
He underwent his first surgery at 9 days old. 54 more medical procedures would follow.
No matter what happens, we want the kid to live. This is going to be a lifetime of chronic pain. Where I got into trouble was when I was 18, I had some Percocet left over from a surgery, and I had a really bad headache one day, and I took those meds, and it was almost like, oh my gosh, I feel normal for the first time in my entire life. I've been in recovery from addiction to pain medications for the past 15 years. 85% of the world's opioids are consumed in America. We've got an epidemic of pain medications that is profound in this country right now. You know, addiction is a powerful, cunning disease. Recovery is so much better because you've got more time to do things. With addiction and pain, you're a slave to both the drug and the pain.
In 1999, he rejected the pills and resolved to never look back. Since then, Reiser works on new songs. And he's become involved with the hunting program MidwestWhitetail.com, writing music for the show and videotaping his own adventures in the woods.
Well, it's April 23rd, and I am back home again in Indiana. Music and videography and doing the things that I love to do actually enhances my pain management.
It can be graphic at times.
I said, I will do this project under one condition. Don't pay me, because this payment of taking care of myself is the payment. Lead guitar, mandolin.
You just bring in the rest of the band when you need them, right?
No, man, I do it myself because I'm cheap. The last 15 years off of pain medications and in recovery for both addiction and chronic pain trump the 18 years that I had before that. And a lot of people say, oh my gosh, you know, you were in the music business, you had a $7 million record deal, life was good. You know, gosh, don't you miss any of that? And there's no, not compared to what I didn't have then. And what I didn't have then was peace and serenity and a life that didn't connect me to the healthcare system. Do not underestimate the power of my own addiction. I am one pill away from being right back where I was 15 years ago and worse, because that's the nature of the disease.
The music man with a message. Reiser currently works at IU Health Methodist. He helps addicts go through a 6-week, 12-step program. He's also a member of the Prescription Drug Task Force created by the state's Attorney General. Reporting live, Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
And a very strong man as well.
Our coverage continues with a basic roadmap to resources that can help someone with a heroin addiction. You can reach out to your county drug-free counsel office to see if there are any rehab or support programs in your area. There are a number of social media support sites, plus the state's effort you can find at bitterpill.in.gov. You may also want to check out the nearest Narcotics Anonymous program in your county for help. It is a destructive appetite for a quick drug-induced thrill, and it's putting you in danger. The places you go to get a quick snack or stop to go to the restroom are becoming hotspots for needle-toting heroin users. Call 6 investigator Rafael Sanchez joins us live tonight with a full story. Rafael?
Erica, good evening. First responders on the front line. More than 900 heroin users put on these stretchers did not go to the morgue. In fact, they survived. And in many cases, those users fed their appetite in public places.
Fire and ambulance, what's address your emergency?
In the shadow of the sun and moon.
Fire and ambulance.
It's happening at all hours of the day. More often where you and your family shop, eat, and park.
I got a gentleman walking around my parking lot here that I suspect is probably overdosing on heroin. He's got tracks on his arm and he had his belt wrapped around it.
Public places are becoming unwanted havens for people who snort or shoot up heroin.
So give me an idea of where are these public places that you would get high at?
Like gas station bathrooms, restaurant bathrooms, in the car, like while somebody else is driving, like just really anywhere.
Oh my God, he was still. I'm not sure if he's What's your phone number?
Heroin addicts in a rush to get their high at times can't wait to get home after buying their drug known on the street as boy or dog food.
Jerry, come on, man. Don't do this to me, bro.
Is she still breathing?
What is wrong with you?
Or where are you at?
I'm in my truck with my buddy. I went in to use the bathroom and I come out and he was hunched over my seat, not breathing.
Public locations are preferred by drug users carrying lots of cash, fear being robbed by their dealers.
Is there a thrill about that? Is it just that you want the fix right now, so you do it right now?
It's that I want the fix right now. Do it right now.
Indianapolis EMS is responding to at least 3 overdoses a day. Lieutenant Brian Knifer is a supervisor on the night shift.
Overdoses are unfortunately on the rise.
So high that some users need a dose or 2 of Narcan to counteract an overdose and deny death a victory.
That person that we were called for, give them the absolute best medical care that they can get and get them to the hospital for follow-up care and make sure that they go back to their families and their friends at the end of the day.
Heroin addicts don't fit one stereotype when it comes to gender, race, or age.
There's a gentleman in our bathroom. He's passed out and there's a needle laying beside him, so I think he's OD'd in our bathroom.
With public places becoming a heroin user's hangout.
I just overdosed. I needed an ambulance quick.
Good Samaritans and their CPR skills are playing a critical role in the first few minutes of an overdose.
What makes you think it's an overdose? What happened?
He did some heroin.
Okay. Is he awake and breathing?
I've been giving him CPR.
Back live now to EMS headquarters. The city so far has spent some $15,000 just on the medication for the nasal spray as well as the injection. That does not include the hospitalization. We should point out that in 2015, the city is hoping to expand the use of Narcan, the nasal spray and the injection, to firefighters as well as to our police officers. Now, this injection has some saline in it, water, but this is what the life-saving medicine looks like. That is the mist that can save a life, and so far, 900 lives and counting have been saved. Live at 11, Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
All right, a simple piece of furniture changing the direction of an entire lifetime.
It's the idea behind a group known as Purposeful Design, built to help families and uplift their neighborhoods. What was an idea has turned into a company. Rafael Sanchez joins us with Our Streets, Our Stories.
Eric and Todd, would you believe that a picnic table made of hard and soft wood has the power to change a person? Tonight, the people, the product, and the purpose.
The pieces are coming together, one at a time. Here, a band of brothers in faith begin the day sharing personal problems and words of praise.
We know that we need help. So let's look at this one for some help today. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6.
For it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Then they break.
All right, so here we are, ready to start again today.
To build handcrafted tables and chairs. Much of the pre-cut wood used in the shop comes from the Wheeler Mission Camp Hunt in Bloomington. Those men working on recovery from various addictions are helping the men in this room. This is all part of a ministry known as purposeful design.
Somehow, for some reason, God's teaching us to love each other. And there's a certain humility which is coming over this group of men as we work together. It's a huge joy. What satisfaction at the end of the day to go home and know that some lives were changed and men are getting stronger and seeing more clearly.
Some of the men who work here are not only getting a paycheck, but a second chance.
This is the place where you can come, everybody knows your name, they're glad that you're here, and there's always some type of encouragement.
Cedric is using the time in this space to carve a new path. He gave up selling drugs after the birth of his daughter. Now there is no looking back.
What does that say about life then? I mean, like furniture, you have come a long way. I mean, are you much like this furniture?
I'm pretty well like this furniture. I was rough around the edges. I had to be sanded down. I had to be cut on. I had to be stained in certain images in life that I was stained with. My outlook is different now, so I had to get that stain sanded off me and get a new primer coat so I can take on a new stain, so to speak, which is God's Spirit on me.
Right next to your nails there.
Andrew Gibson is a crew leader.
Go this way instead.
So is this your salvation?
This is my salvation. Jesus Christ is my salvation.
Gibson became hooked on prescription pills after a back injury and then abused heroin. That's behind him as he rebuilds his family and creates products for sale.
To know that, you know, someone that was in such a dark place at one point, you know, was delivered from that, and now they're making something that they can enjoy. Like I said, I've never done anything to please anyone else or help anyone else. It was always for me, you know, and now I'm able to give back a little bit. It's pretty awesome.
So every piece produced supports a job. And every job allows these men, like their furniture, to stand on their own.
At its peak, the furniture shop is alive with 4 to 15 men getting a paycheck and working oh so very hard. The wood shop receives support from College Park Church and wood supplies from Edinburgh-based Macbeth. Reporting live, Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
Tonight, the judgment call to separate a child from his parents is one of the most difficult decisions.
Our Call 6 team continues its extensive look at the impact of heroin on our state. Tonight, Call 6 investigator Kara Kinney with the youngest victims impacted by heroin.
That's right, Erica. I spent some time with a woman on the front lines of this war against heroin. She invited me into a courtroom where I watched and listened to drug-addicted parents fighting to keep their children.
The juvenile court sits atop one of Marion County's highest points. Its nickname, Heartbreak Hill. Most people never go inside this facility, but Judge Marilyn Moores wanted us to see what goes on here.
I think most of the city doesn't know really what goes on out here.
Judge Marilyn Moores is the only juvenile court judge for Marion County. She handles cases where children are suffering from abuse and neglect or simply need services, more than 2,000 cases a year. And in the past 2 years, Judge Moores has noticed a disturbing trend in her courtroom.
This community is drowning in heroin. I've never seen anything like this. It is like someone dynamited the Hoover Dam. And what is washing out are babies and children.
But it's not children using heroin, it's their parents. And Moore says we're not talking bums on the street. Heroin users in her courtroom are often white, middle-class parents with jobs, parents that are putting heroin first.
I had a 7-year-old yesterday who said, I don't get enough to eat when I'm with my mommy, because she was out seeking drugs all the time, and all the money went for drugs, and it was heroin. They're watching their parents overdose, they're watching their parents prostitute to get the money for the drugs.
As she fights the war on heroin, one addict at a time, it's Moore's job to help families with counseling and treatment. It's also her job to decide whether to keep children in the home or remove them and place them with relatives or in foster care.
Do you have those fears? I mean, are you afraid?
Every day, because every day I sit right there and I have to decide, do I traumatize this child by removing them and placing them perhaps with strangers, or do I leave them in the home? You have to weigh this scale. These children love their parents. There's a tremendous trauma with removing kids, even from the most horrific situations.
Do you look at it as a last resort?
Absolutely, I look at it as a last resort.
Moore says she removes more children because of heroin than any other drug, because heroin is just that dangerous, addictive, and damaging.
What do you say to those people that are sitting in suburbia that say, this doesn't affect me?
You're paying the bill.
How so?
You are paying for the services provided to these parents. You are paying for the foster care for these children.
And many are Medicaid patients, so you're paying for drug-addicted babies who spend weeks in the NICU.
I would guess that's about a $250,000 bill.
On Heartbreak Hill, Judge Moore sees cases nearly every day involving heroin drug use.
This is so sad.
It's heartbreaking. Heartbreak Hill, I'm telling you.
So what can we do as a community? Moore says you can volunteer as a foster parent or a garden ad litem.
And Kara, the judge really expressed a passion and a real concern on this issue.
She did, and she has an urgent plea. If you have not picked up a needle, don't. And if you have picked up that needle, then don't have a baby.
Very good advice and very important information. Thank you so much, Kara.
And our coverage continues as our Call 6 team takes an extensive look at the issue. Thursday on the news at 6, the demon involved among those who abuse the drug. At 7, the controversial plan that could put you on the front line of overdoses. And on the news at 11, the public danger of heroin use as dealers hope to remain under the radar.